provided meals for the homeless population just to make sure that people are able to eat during this.
What are we up to, Fransky?
150 right now.
Yeah, so it'll come out to maybe about 225, and it'll probably be gone in 30 minutes, if that.
And that's every morning. The kitchen staff, I understand, come in about 5 every morning to get started.
On a normal day, we work from 6 to 2, 364 days a year. I like to give them healthy, nutritious, well-rounded meals.
I mean, there are a lot of things that they would never try or had a chance to try.
Once they start eating healthy and nutritious, maybe they'll start feeling better about themselves.
There is a connection with mental health and what we're putting into our bodies. So if I'm eating good, then guess what? I'm feeling good emotionally. And when I'm feeling good emotionally, I'm feeling good spiritually.
We do a lot of different things. Wash their clothes, paying for glasses, things that they need.
We connect people to resources to get IDs, birth certificates.
Every member has a unique story. They're going to need unique resources.
We provide nursing services to the members at least 3 days a week. Anybody who comes in who has wounds that they need taken care of, vaccinations, we really like to get to know the members and find the best way that we can help them, especially from a medical standpoint.
We're a very small organization, so even though different programs entail different qualifications, different policies, it's very important for us to work as a team.
We do have to provide moral support to each other. We pray at every meeting. We usually smudge at every meeting too.
We try and get them into housing one way or another, try and find a spot for them to go.
Getting someone successfully housed isn't just finding them an open unit. It's making sure that they have the resources to sustain their housing after the case management is done and the payments have been made.
Native Americans, unfortunately, they make up a lot of the homelessness in Seattle.
Chief Seattle Club is for natives. If a native person comes, from out of town, from their home reservation or something, and they walk through the doors and they smell sage, that's going to be like, oh, I know that smell. I know that.
I know our trauma is very specific and a lot of people aren't educated on it. So being Native American myself, I wanted to come in just to provide that extra level of comfort to our members.
By getting people in good, culturally appropriate treatment and also stable housing, we're going to see a shift in their whole life.
A lot of them just need somewhere to shower and to sleep and be safe and get regulated on their medication. That way they could be successful in job searching. You can't do that if you have to worry about where you're going to sleep that night.
I definitely think that Chief Seattle Club has been making a big difference. We give out, about 120 bag breakfasts, and then we give out about 170 or so hot lunches every day.
Being in the kitchen, working with food, knowing that I'm providing a service, feeding with good high spirits, doing my little part of making the world go round,
For some people, that may be the only meal that they get in a day. People need to eat.
I look forward to working with our members, just being able to make a little ripple in the community through our housing program.
Natives can't heal natives. We can't heal our own people. We've seen it.
I believe Creator put me here to do that.
I think that's what makes this more than just a job.
It's really exciting that Chief Seattle Club is having the 50th anniversary.
Congratulations on 50 years. You have been able to help hundreds and thousands of Indian people.
It's a great feeling to be a part of such an amazing organization.
Happy 50th, Chief Seattle Club.
Happy 50th, Chief Seattle Club.
Congratulations. Keep up the good work.
We just want to continue to grow and continue to be there for our members.
Chief Seattle Club, my hands are raised to you. Here's to another 50 years.
Pike Place Market is proud to have helped initiate the Native Works program. We're honored to help find opportunities for Native artisans to sell their work and to learn new skills that will ensure that they thrive. We recognize that we are on Coast Salish land and believe that supporting Native Works is essential as our city moves towards racial equity and justice.
How do we address homelessness? It's a battle on all fronts. Employment is necessary to rehabilitation. Our apprentices get to create, work with their hands. They are paid $15.75 an hour to create everything that we make. We were able to set up a table here at Pike Place Market. One of the biggest impacts that I've seen in our apprentices' lives is that connection to culture, connection to community, connection to the artwork. Being able to sell our products at Pike Place Market has enabled us to reach out to more funders and allies in getting the land that we plan to have at the farm. We'll be able to supply the Chief Seattle Club kitchen with produce. We'll be able to supply our members with medicines. We'll be able to have a space where our members can go work in the land and be in the land.
Boxes are good for your home, these farm gardens. We don't have a property, a big place like the Sovereignty Farms. Sovereignty Farm will help us get back to our roots to the things that we need to grow for ourselves. All these things that we eat in our daily life.
Our community has faced so much historical, intergenerational trauma. I cannot wait to see all the beautiful healing transformations that are going to take place at the farm.
I'm not sure how to explain all that. Just have to go through it.
The native peoples of this country have always shared a connection to its land, to its waters, to its spirit. We share the responsibility of protecting it, and we stand united in that commitment. We stood united in the face of adversity and adapted to serve the land in new ways. We stood united when we were told to move on, that our voices did not count. We fought and continue to fight for change. We continue to make our voices heard because we are still here. Our traditions are still strong. Our vote is our voice, and every native vote counts.
The mission of Chief Seattle Club is to create sacred space to nurture, affirm, and renew the spirit of urban Native people. And we believe that it is our sacred responsibility to find ways to support our Native community who are experiencing homelessness. We know that if you're Native American and you live in the city of Seattle, you are 7 times more likely to be homeless. So we, as a Native community, Native-led organization, said we will respond. We can provide a culturally appropriate housing that will serve our relatives in a way that no one else can. All is a Lushootseed word for home. So there'll be 80 units of housing. We'll have a clinic that people can go and get to take care of their medical needs. We'll have an art gallery. We'll have workforce development. And this project is going to look and feel like a Native project from the inside out. And I think it's going to be a project that we can all be really proud of right here in the heart of Pioneer Square.
In doing an architectural design, Chief Seattle Club made it pretty clear to us that they want to honor Indigenous people. They want to honor the cultural heritage of the Coast Salish people, this is Central Coast Salish people in this area, and then also the diversity of their Native clients, and bring that into the project.
And another thing that was intriguing was, one is it's in Pioneer Square, which is the oldest settled neighborhood in Seattle, but there's also a longer history there that has not been talked about as much. And this was a great opportunity for the Chief Seattle Club to tell that story in the architecture.
Chief Seattle Club was very vital to me in my early days. I was homeless on the streets for about a month or so at that time. And when I came into the Chief Seattle Club, the very first thing I remember coming into it, hearing the big drum going on in the gathering circle. I mean, I really felt like I wasn't alone for the first time in a very long time. And I think that's what the members get today. There's a sense of loss of culture, lots of identity. And when they come to the Chief Seattle Club, they get that. They can reconnect in a place that they can feel safe and revitalize that Native spirit.
If it weren't for Chief Seattle Club, I wouldn't be able to survive out here. You just feel at home here because there's an understanding within the tribes when you meet people here that we're all in this together. You know, that people understand each other, where they came from or where they're coming from.
This project, this expansion, this optimistic, forward-looking campaign to grow the facility right at the core of this remarkable city, to not just solve the problem of Native homelessness, but to celebrate Native life that we all spring from. We all need to get on board with that.
It's just one of the most exciting campaigns and initiatives that's happening, I think, for Native people anywhere in the country right now, and we're lucky that it's happening here in Seattle. So it's a great organization and everyone should support it.
We want to invite you to join us. This is about a movement. This isn't just about one campaign or one building. This is about Native people saying, we know how to take care of our people. We believe that our relatives deserve to come inside into secure housing. Join us in this movement that is going to change the world, because when we bring Native people inside into secure housing, we're going to see their ideas come forward in amazing ways. So this is a compelling opportunity, and we want to invite you to be a part of the work that we're doing here at Chief Seattle Club and for our all building. Join us. Let's build all together.
Let's build all together.
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 Let's build all together.
All together. This may look like a big gravel pit right now, but in the fall of 2021, it will be a beautiful building that is home for 80 plus folks to live in. I remember first learning about this. I remember first realizing that my own relatives were experiencing homelessness in a very beautiful and abundant city like Seattle. This is something for us all to consider. It's something for us all to think about. How do we give back to our relatives? How do we support them? How do we lift them up towards wellness? And so that's what this project is about. And we're just taking a little bit of time today to do a ground blessing for our new project. This is the All project. All is the Lushootseed word for home. And we are calling to our relatives to come home, to come to All, to be a part of our thriving Native community here in Seattle.
We're going to have 9 floors. The first 2 floors are going to be named after sacred medicine. Our first medicine, water. Without water, there'd be no life of any kind. But the 7 additional floors will be residential floors. Those are where our most vulnerable relatives are going to live and house. And each floor we're going to name after one of our sacred medicines. So we've used the 7 medicines that we chose were sage, cedar, sweetgrass, nettle, bear root, salmon berry. We're going to put it in the ground and give an offering to bring that healing to our people once this building is up.
part of this monumental project. I want to thank Walsh Construction, Beacon Development, Jones & Jones, with particular appreciation for John Paul Jones for his expertise and his guidance as we build this beautiful home for our relatives here in the heart of Seattle. I am so excited for you all to join us on this journey, and I can't wait to show you more progress as we go. So thank you so much for being such an important part of the Chief Seattle Club family. And I look forward to seeing where we can go.
I came here lost, lonely. And then I came here to Chief Seattle, and I got warmth. It was like a homey feeling that you never had.
The idea is that people are going to come in off the streets and then they receive the services they need to move on to long-term stable housing.
Here at Eagle Village, we'll have traditional healing groups. We'll have traditional medicine people here on site. We'll have a medicine garden. We'll offer a community that will be Native people supporting each other in this housing.
I'll be living here, and it's like having this, looking at this all these years. And then all of a sudden, I get this room with a mirror like this. And could you imagine, the self-esteem work upon myself,
What's good for Native community is also good for a lot of people. So we want to be able to support the entire system.
If this model is successful, we can begin to replicate it to make a big impact in different segments of the homeless community.
So to come into something like this and feel the honor of being a part of this, it's an honor, so I am grateful. Thank you. Thank you.
We are certainly seeing that this virus and homelessness impact people of color at higher rates. Our homeless community, they are stressed right now. They are hurting. They are suffering on our streets. And so it's really important for us to not only give them that food, but also to say, we're here for you. Like, you're not alone in this pandemic. And we see you. We see that this is really impacting you at a greater rate than is impacting me. At the Chief Seattle Club, we're adjusting and doing things outdoors in a way that we can make sure that physical distancing is happening. 6 feet, please, 6 feet. We're doing food outside, and we're doing our traditional medicine. Our traditional healer will be here today. We're doing COVID-19 testing outside with the partnership with Seattle Indian Health Board. We're getting used to working with masks on. We're getting used to getting our temperatures taken, gloves, cleaning everything. We also have over 35 elders and families, medically fragile people in hotel rooms. Our numbers doubled last month. So we're close to 300 meals a day. I have a really good kitchen crew that works really hard. We come in at 6 and start serving at 8. We put out close to 200 a day of the entrees, over 120 breakfast continental sacks. And every day we cook 2 flats of hard-boiled eggs and muffins for the continental breakfast the next day. One of our elders last week called me over. What he said to me was, Colleen, I just want you to know how proud I am of the Chief Seattle Club. And we looked down at this line of people. There was 100 people lined up. And a lot of them were not Chief Seattle Club members. They were not Native people. And he said to me, this is the Native way. If no one else is going to serve these people food, if there's not going to be enough resources, then we should try to share everything we have. and recognize the humanity of every single person.
It's the start of a workday in the city, and from the convention center you can see a man running down Pike Street with a football under his arm, stutter stepping, light on his feet, bounding like a deer. As he gets closer, with his black mane bouncing, the man fakes a throw. He points, spins around, jukes some imaginary tacklers. He runs with joy, this man, and when he arrives, he throws the ball. His name is Robert Searles. When the spirit moves him, and it often does, he lets out a howl.
Just letting God know he can hear me, you know. That's my way of talking, and you know.
Let me hear it.
Like I said, letting God know I'm here, you know. That's what that's about.
He is Native American, Apache, and Robert has a story. 25 years ago, he was homeless, addicted to drugs, and he went out one day to buy some more.
I was doing the wrong thing, you know, at the time, and, you know, and I just went to go by, and I saw the football there, and then these people were up in the woods, and they lived in tents, and I saw the football sitting there, and I said, can I have that? Because I knew they weren't going to use it. I don't know why it just comes to me like that.
At first, the football just kept his hands busy as he sold real change papers on the corner, and then it became something different. He started throwing it, and he never stopped. He throws to security guards. He throws to tourists. He throws to their children, too. He holds up the ball. That's his invitation to play.
I'll usually give them this, and they'll either say yes or no on it. It's right!
On any given day, he might be anywhere in Seattle, Pioneer Square, for instance, throwing the football around. He's easy to find.
How you doing, Robert?
And once he gets you throwing,
Eric,
he likes to keep you throwing. Across streets, over traffic, when you're tossing the football around with Robert, the whole city is a playground.
Why throw?
I don't know. I mean, it's kind of hard to explain. It just comes to me. And it's just a feeling that I have, you know.
Hammering man, meet throwing man. The occasional bus wire. Messes with Robert's completion percentage. He just chases it down, and the game continues. There is no pretension when you're throwing a football. You don't play catch with someone you don't like. You play catch with a friend. And look at the faces. Everybody grins when he throws to them. The simple truth is, nobody's unhappy when they're throwing the football around.
Do you think it makes people happy? Yeah, look at all the smiles on their faces. Absolutely, yeah. Especially this time of year, tourists and stuff, they love it.
If I see tension, you know, I try and break it with, you know, a good yell or a good throw. And just showing it, you know, breaks up the monotony of the bad feelings of whatever's going on.
Robert's fancy passing is no passing fancy. He's been doing this for 25 years. Once a local curiosity, he's now a kind of Seattle institution. And his personal expression of joy is for everybody. Construction workers, guys in suits.
Yeah, I guess I'm not super sporty, but he doesn't seem to mind.
Seattle's like that. You got the weird people. Weird in a good way.
He works some part-time odd jobs around the city, washes windows, walks dogs, that kind of thing. But he always makes time for this, 2 to 2.5 hours every day. He calls it his workout.
Here we go.
And so just for a moment, as we go about our business, a 57-year-old man throws us a ball. We flash back to being a kid, smile, and throw it back to him.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Robert Searles brings joy to our city. Sometimes he raises his arms up to the sky and offers thanks for the deliverance that came when he spotted a football in a drug dealer's tent many years ago and asked if he might have it. And then he's gone, back up Pike Street with that football under his arm, light on his feet, bounding like a deer.
Hello, my name is Stone Gossard, and I'm here with Mike McCready, and we're welcoming you to the annual Chief Seattle lunch. We're honored to be here, and we're honored to be part of bringing this welcome pole back to Salish land and out in front of the new Chief Seattle Center that is going to be a beautiful facility. We want to thank everyone for coming today. We want to welcome everybody and encourage everybody to be generous. We're in unprecedented times, and the emergency that we're facing in regards to homelessness and food shortages is bound to get worse. And I think right now, as Seattleites, we need to find our most generous spirits and really dig as deep as we can to help alleviate some of this suffering.
Going to the luncheon last year was very enlightening in terms of hearing about the new facilities that they're building for the indigenous homeless population of Seattle, and the fundraising they need to do that, and the ties to the community that we all need to be part of and need to be, I feel like we can help. I love being part of that kind of thing, hopefully to be part of a solution.
You can't live in Seattle and not have experienced the horror of seeing people living on the streets and living in tents, and the disconnect between how much money there is in this city and how we have been unable to solve this issue is something that it makes us all crazy. And I think our impetus for the home show was that obviousness, and Chief Seattle Club has been on the forefront of confronting that obviousness, and we want to continue to work with them as they take up the unique challenge of facing in First Peoples and Indigenous peoples homelessness, and veterans homelessness, housing inequality. Those kinds of issues they have to be addressed, and we hope to assist in some way in helping them do that.
We're very passionate about wanting to support the Chief Seattle Club and homeless Indigenous population of Seattle. We feel like the Chief Seattle Club does a fantastic job and continues to. We are in crazy times right now, as we all know, and more than ever, we need to donate money and time to these kind of to this organization, and we're happy to be part of that, and our band is doing the same. Thank you.
On top of a donation that Pearl Jam is making towards the welcome pole, we are also making a $50,000 pledge to Chief Seattle Club as a collaboration with Pearl Jam in regards to directly adding funds for emergency food and shelter for next year. We hope that we can get others to join us as well. We know that we will have an unprecedented challenge ahead, and we're looking forward to that challenge and appreciate everybody coming today. So thank you so much.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. It is wonderful to be with you again on our final day of our virtual series celebrating 50 years of Chief Seattle Club. This is also our big virtual fundraiser. We want to invite you to consider a donation right away as we begin this wonderful day. I'm so glad that you're here. My name is Colleen Echohawk. I am the very, very happy executive director at the Chief Seattle Club. I always tell everyone I feel this is one of the best jobs that I've ever had, for sure. It is a joyful job. It is a hard job, but we do it out of love for our relatives, out of love for our beloved Chief Seattle Club members who deserve for us to fight for them, to advocate for them, to find all kinds of ways to partner with many of you so that we can do what we can to support them throughout their homelessness journey and into housing. So welcome. This is going to be a wonderful hour of just discussing our 50th anniversary, thinking about where we have come from and where we are going. And we're excited to bring some of our board members and past board members into the conversation. But before we do that, I want to invite you to once again to donate. You know, we have, and I also want to thank our sponsors. We have an incredible group of sponsors. We've raised over $150,000 just in our sponsorships alone. We are so thankful. It's amazing. I want to thank Comcast, and we want to thank Zillow, and we want to thank the Seattle Kraken. I want to invite you to join them and join us as we work to raise all the dollars we can to give the best opportunity to the Chief Seattle Club members. I also just wanted to say a huge thanks to Pearl Jam. You might have seen at the beginning of our show today that Mike McCready and Stone Gossard have just supported our work, and the whole Pearl Jam band have supported the Chief Seattle Club since the home shows. And we are so honored. It's like amazing to know that one of the biggest bands in the whole world, the biggest band out of Seattle for sure, is supporting our work. And I think that the reason that Pearl Jam chooses to support the Chief Seattle Club is because our work is vital. It is essential. Every single day we get to save lives. And not only do we get to save lives, we get to partner. We get to love our members. We get to be with them in their journey. Because the Native experience of homelessness, even if you're not experiencing homelessness and you're a Native person, you still understand it. You still feel it deeply. Many of us are long and far away from our traditional homelands. We've seen government action after government action that has assured that Native people will be homeless. We believe that the solution to Native homelessness is Native-led solutions. And we think that our impact on the system is good for everyone within our system. So it is exciting to see such wonderful partnership with groups like Pearl Jam. I'm still kind of blown away that they like us as much as they do. And we want to say thank you. Thank you to Stone. Thank you to Mike for supporting us, for making that video. It really leaves me a little breathless, and I'm so grateful. So it's going to be a fun day with us today. I'm glad you're here. This is our last day. All of our 5 days of live streaming will be available on our Facebook club site. On our Facebook site, the Chief Seattle Club site, and also on YouTube, as well as on our website. I also want to just note that we have made some pretty awesome updates on our website in the past couple days. We want to thank Alicia Diamond and Olivia, who are staff here at Chief Seattle Club. If you want to follow along with us as we talk about the 50th anniversary and some of the work that has happened, you can go to our story section on our website and click on the 50th anniversary, and you're going to see just an amazing timeline of work. So thank you again for being here. And I want to invite Annie Kirk, our board chair, to join us. And we're going to talk a little bit about the history of Chief Seattle Club. Welcome, Annie. We're so glad you're here. Annie Kirk has been our board chair for around 4 years now, I believe. So welcome, Annie.
Yeah, thanks so much, Colleen. This is such an exciting day. Also, just the culmination of a beautiful week of lunch events. So I highly recommend for anyone who's joining us now, if you didn't get a chance to listen in on any of the other sessions from the week, I really strongly recommend that you go back and look at those. I have to say, I joined on Wednesday with Joy Harjo, and then I watched it again that evening because it was just that good.
It was so good. Again, you know, I kind of just like sit back and think all these people that love and support Chief Seattle Club, you know, we want to thank Joy Harjo. I got an email today saying that she was returning some of the honorarium that she had, that we had sent her, just because she believes so much in our work. Thank you, Joy Harjo.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, and it's just been a fun week. I you know, Joy Harjo, it's hard to describe how much she means in Indian country right now as a U.S. Poet Laureate, and her incredible collection of work that has gotten many Native people through a lot of hard times. And so we're just honored that she wanted to join us. And then having Superman on Monday. That was great.
I know we've had wonderful friends this whole week, and super excited for everybody who's able to join us again today as well.
Yeah, and you know what we've been doing, we've had a lot of discussion kind of about like the past 5 years of stuff at the Chief Seattle Club. But the reality is that what is happening now at Chief Seattle Club, you know, our new buildings, our extended hours, our tons of food that's going out, it was built on a very strong foundation that started in 1970s, and actually even before that. So Annie, I wanted to invite you to, you know, join me in like, we're just going to talk a little bit about the Chief Seattle Club history that begins with the Relocation Act of 1956, which is even before this timeline, where many Native people were moved out of their reservations and into urban centers like Seattle. And that's when, in the late 60s and 1970s, a lot of Native nonprofits started springing up to help protect and take care of their folks. And that's how Chief Seattle Club started in 1970, with the acknowledgement that many Native people were experiencing homelessness.
Yeah, I think just when you think back to that and you just look at the timeline of so many organizations just responding to the call of recognizing that we needed to do something for our relatives who were quite literally picked up and moved to a place that they didn't know.
Yeah.
And so for other organizations, in addition to ours, who just came together and did whatever we could at the time to provide some aspect of comfort for our relatives who are now in this huge city.
Yeah.
I think what's just astounding as we look at our 50th anniversary is that I just so wonder, like, could we have even imagined in 1970 with just the handing out of bagged meals, really being, you know, our purpose at that point, with very limited, you know, volunteers, time, but could we have even imagined that we would get here?
Yeah, it truly boggles your mind. And you know, the Chief Seattle Club was initiated by a Jesuit priest named Father Talbot, and he saw that there were many Native people that were hanging out in the Lazarus Day Center, which is a legendary, you know, homeless service provider. And he said, well, what if we created like a club for these guys so the Native community could hang out and have their own club? And so they started the Chief Seattle Club. Sometimes people ask me like, what's with that name, you know? and they were really intentional about saying, hey, this is the time to like, that Native people need a place to be together, to heal, and to, you know, have a place of security. So it was really, really innovative on their part.
Yeah, absolutely. And I am super excited today that we are joined by our very own Denise Stifarm, whose uncle played a pivotal role in forming our organization.
Yeah, you know, the Stiffarm, we're going to talk a little bit later about the Stiffarm Visionary Leadership Award, but it definitely is connected. It is connected to Ben Stiffarm, who was one of the signing members on our original incorporation documents. So it's going to be fun to talk with Denise a little bit later. And then, you know, as the club continued on, there was movement of like, hey, we need to like perhaps have our own space. The club moved around a couple of times, and then, you know, Father Talbot started having some health issues.
And there was an amazing woman named Sister Julie who had worked in Indian country in different reservations around the Seattle area. And so she was encouraged to come and be a part of this. And she was our first executive director besides Father Talbot. And so Sister Julie was and is so amazing. She brought together more and more work around supporting our folks. So not only was it going to be like a hangout time, but what other services could be provided. So there was always coffee, there was food, and also there was encouragement towards spiritual reconnection and bringing in the traditional services and support, because she had been out in reservations.
Yeah, it's also so wonderful that we have so many of our founders and supporters who are still right here. Right now we obviously can't gather in person, but that's been one of the things that I've most enjoyed about our annual luncheon, is being able to see Sister Julie, others who have really laid the steps to get us to where we are now.
Yeah, Sister Julie is still around doing work with the Native community. So we really appreciate and love you so much, Sister Julie. I hope you're watching. And I also noticed that one of our previous board members, David North, is shouting out to us. So hi, David. We're glad you're here.
David and I joined the board about the same time.
Oh, yes. Hi, David. Super glad to have you along with us on this journey today, along with many other folks who are watching our live stream right now. And, I wanted to, again, reflect on Sister Julie, because she was pivotal in helping bring along some really amazing people to support our work, including Steve and Tricia Trainor, who, love and adoration is not enough for them. I'm always joking around with Steve that we're going to name a building after him. Let it be heard out here in the public. One day we'll have the Trainor Towers, but
they'll hate that. They'll absolutely hate it.
I won't do it. But it's fun to think about. But the Trainors are such amazing and supportive community, the best co-conspirators for Native community that I can think of out there. If you talk about allyship, you talk about people who understand the idea of servant leadership, that is Steve and Tricia Trainor. And so Sister Julie brought them along onto our board. Steve is still a member. Tricia is a former board member, and we're going to talk with her a little bit later on as we present her the first inaugural Tricia Trainor Spirit Award. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But that was having, Sister Julie bring on Steve and Tricia was just so amazing. I should also say we should have a big shout out to St. Joe's. The St. Joe's parish was very and continues to be very supportive of the work here at Chief Seattle Club. And so many of our connections in the community were, supported by Steve and Tricia. Of course, we know the Native community, but we needed, the dollars, and we needed the support from non-Native community members.
Yeah, absolutely. And just the know-how.
Yeah.
Steve and Tricia have helped us obviously get into our day center where we are currently, and have been instrumental in helping as we move forward in building our own buildings.
Yeah.
And, we couldn't have done that alone.
Yeah. Steve unfortunately gets many frequent calls from us to say, how do you do this? So we really appreciate you, Steve, as far as the work in the development field, which, I didn't know anything about, but now I know much more, and we are moving forward. And Derek Belgard, our deputy director, also has been so helpful and helping us learn how to do this. So we really appreciate you, Steve and Tricia. And we also just acknowledge that, you helped us move into our current day center. Like you mentioned, Annie, we were able to, with the support of the Trainors, buy our building 410 2nd Avenue Extension South. That building has been so amazing, offering life-saving services to our members. So we have space for a nurse's office, and we have space for a day center. We have our huge kitchen that we can do all kinds of wonderful food out of. This past month, we've done almost 10,000 meals out of our kitchen.
Yeah, it's just absolutely incredible. And just getting to the point where we had our own space. Like, obviously, Chief Seattle Club has done incredible work since the very beginning. And just that shift of getting our own space and being, just the feeling that you get as a Native person in the city, even just walking in those front doors. One thing that every time I'm down at the club, I just really appreciate, because it feels like home. I'm fortunate. My home is Lummi, so it's, relatively close to here, but still just living in a city that is so very different from where I grew up and where my family is and where my home is. Just getting in to go in the doors of Chief Seattle Club and just, I don't know, that it's weight is lifted, that I can't quite describe, that I'm just so incredibly grateful for.
Annie, you're going to make me cry over here, because I think that you're sharing something that a lot of Native people feel when we come into the Chief Seattle Club. And I think that's why we have so many Native people who are on our staff. I totally can resonate with that feeling. When we walk into this gathering circle we're seeing an image of right now, you feel different. You feel like you can be yourself. You can, and the amazing thing of being around so many Native people in an urban center, it's really, really wonderful. So we moved into our new building, our new space, and I just want to recognize that part of the reason we were able to do that was through our next executive. We had Sister Julie, and then we had the wonderful Jim Burns, who helped fundraise and get us into our building. And then at that point in time, there was a real strong understanding and ongoing philosophy that we needed Native leadership, that we need Native people at the helm of the Chief Seattle Club, working towards the work that needs to be done on behalf of our members. And so one of our first staff, who I believe she started off at the front desk, actually became our executive director, Janine Gray. And we are so grateful to her.
Yeah, Janine was the executive director when I joined the board in 2009, and just the leadership that she provided, and again, more stepping stones to bringing us to where we are now, and then obviously then bringing you on as our executive and here we are.
Yeah, well, we're grateful for you, Janine, and other staff members that were, just so pivotal and crucial in getting our day center up and running as we, moved into that new building. And I was honored to walk into Janine's footsteps, and she really got us into that new building, and we're really grateful. Yeah, and now it's been 7 years since I've been the executive director, or almost 7 years. And it really, like I said earlier, it really is the best job I've ever had. I feel incredibly lucky to be here. We're moving forward. And Annie, it's been just wonderful to be able to work with you these past 4 years as well. What are you feeling as a board member right now and as a board chair?
Well, obviously this year has presented really unprecedented challenges for us. But I think what's been most moving about this time for us is to just see the strength of our organization, the support that we've received, so many of our relatives and our supporters coming out to help us along this time. I'm incredibly grateful, because I couldn't imagine us doing better than we have been right now. And I think the true testament of the strength of our organization is seeing that we can thrive and support our members and relatives at one of the most trying times that I think we've probably faced as an organization.
Yeah, I think so. Every day has been a new adventure for us at the Chief Seattle Club. I just want to take a second and thank the staff. I want to thank our deputy director, Derek Belgard, who has handled this work in incredible ways. He runs all of our, day-to-day operations at the Chief Seattle Club. So Derek, we raise our hands to you. Thank you for your leadership, and for all of the staff that work at the day center, shown up day after day. We have not been closed one day at all. And we have to stay open. We have to find services. I just want to give one more big shout out, and then we're going to talk a little bit about these awards that we want to present today. But, we put a lot of people in hotel rooms. So we have, at any given moment right now, around 50 to 60 hotel rooms that we're renting. And that's, that's through FEMA dollars in King County. And I just want to say thank you to our housing team who have just worked so hard. It's really difficult work. And they continue to ensure that grandparents and families and other folks who've been sleeping in congregate shelter, that they do not have to sleep in congregate shelter. I don't know about you, but in this time we're in right now, I do not want to sleep in the same room with 50 to 100 other people who may be coughing or sneezing. It is not the time for congregate shelter. It's never the time for congregate shelter, but especially right now. So
yeah,
thanks.
Absolutely. Like you said, we've always worked to get our relatives housed, and that has never been more important than it is now. I think this pandemic has highlighted the systemic problems with our, with our healthcare system, with our social service programs, like with our education system, essentially with everything. And so these times really highlight where there's a huge divide and what needed to have been fixed. And so, absolutely, the fact that we've been able to get so many of our members into hotel rooms has been incredible. And I am so grateful for our staff who've been putting in the extra hours to make that happen, because we are truly in crisis. And I'm just so appreciative that our entire team has been able to come together and to help our members out.
Yeah. Well, it is an amazing year here. And again, we want to invite you to donate, invite you to partner with us as we do this work, as we provide those meals, as we get people into housing. Your partnership in this is just incredibly crucial. So thank you. Thank you. And we wanted to take some time now to think about and honor some of our folks that have helped us get here to celebrate these 50 years at Chief Seattle Club. And as we are going to honor Denise Stifarm and her uncle Benjamin, and we're going to honor Trisha Trainor. And we're thinking about how do we do it, right? We want to tell everyone about their work, and we want to honor them through ongoing awards. We'll be presenting the Stiffarm Visionary Leadership Award and the Tricia Trainor Spirit Award for, from now until forever. But we didn't, I was like, I don't want to get them a plaque. I don't want to get them some kind of, little knick-knacky thing. And so I reached out to our dear friend, Louie Gong from 8th Generation. Louie Gong is the one who is responsible for our beautiful logo that you can see on the corner there. And they dropped off some incredible awards that are these beautiful scarves. And they, Louie and his team took time to look at our design of our new building. In our new building, we've designed into the brick patterning Coast Salish designs. And so both Tricia and also Denise will get these beautiful scarves as awards. We'll use these ongoing into the future. We cannot say enough about the amazing work of 8th Generation. It was founded by Louie Gong, now owned by the Snoqualmie tribe. So we thank you, 8th Generation, Louie and the team. We're just so overwhelmed. It's amazing that you guys do this for us. We're so grateful. So thank you so, so much. I invite you to get all your Christmas gifts from them, and it works. All right. Well, we want to invite Denise Stefan to be part of this conversation. And Annie, do you want to just kind of talk a little bit about why we feel so strongly that we should do this Stiffarm Visionary Leadership Award? Hi, Denise.
Hi.
Hi, Denise.
It's nice to see you both.
I know, it's so nice to see you. I will say that this is so tough to do over Zoom when, in our regular life, we would have had a huge meal, a huge celebration together. And I'm so sad I can't give you a hug in person right now. So as I mentioned, I joined the board in 2009, actually at the recommendation of Denise's husband. Mark and I were working together, and there was an opening on the board, and he suggested that I reach out. So I met with Denise to talk about the position, to figure out what skills I could bring to the board. And when I joined, and in the several years following, there were multiple instances, and I can actually think like very clearly of a couple where I would be sitting at the board table and just thinking like, man, I don't envy the person who's gonna follow Denise in this chair. And little did I know at that point that was going to be me. Maybe I was pretty reluctant to take this spot just because it's next to impossible, I think, to follow Denise in any role. I think for anybody who knows her and works with her, like that's not the position that you want to be in. But just getting so many years to be able to learn from you, Denise, and to work with you were just invaluable, both for preparing me to be in this role now, but also just in my own professional development. Just having another Native woman in the city who, understood those challenges of working here and just living here and not having the same comforts of home. So yeah, the relationship has been invaluable to me, and you've obviously laid just an incredible foundation for the club.
Everything you just said, Annie, times a million plus. Denise, I just want to really honor you for all of your incredible dedication to the club. I became the executive director, and even my first funder meeting I had with anyone, you came along with me, and we were like walking through the club. And I can remember the funder making the comment afterwards. She's like, I've never been with a board member who knew so many of the clients or so many of our relatives, so many of our members. And she said, like, I've just never seen it. And that's like the epitome of who you are. Like, you care about the community, and you can see it through your service. You were board chair for 8 years, a very long time. Oh my gosh. And Denise, you put in hours after, I would say thousands of hours at the Chief Seattle Club. And I just want to thank Mark, too, your wonderful husband, who also recruited me to be on your board, for his dedication and service, showing up all the time to hand out food or whatever. So we're grateful for you. And I also want to honor your uncle, who was one of our founding members or founding board for our organization. Signed in on our corporation documents, and we're honoring him today as well, Benjamin Stefan, and honoring the legacy, the Stiffarm legacy of visionary leadership. So thank you, Denise. We want to invite you to say any words. We're happy you're here. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you both so much. Your kind words mean so much to me, and I kind of reflect earlier. Annie's statement about, whenever she walks into the club, her spirit's lifted up. And that's always how I felt. No matter what was going on, what I was doing, it was this respite in my life. And so it was so easy for me to do things there. But I really, I'm just so grateful to the club for acknowledging the vision and the work of my relative, Benjamin Stifarm, who was, as you noted, a founding board member. And Ben did so much for the Native community, for Native people. And, 50 years ago was a part of a greater community effort of Native people in Seattle to really elevate and give us a place of our own. And, this sacred space that is the Chief Seattle Club. And, he did it all of his work in a traditional, quiet, and very just practical way. Only looking for, his only motivation really was to help the community. And so, I'm so privileged to come from this very large extended Stiffarm family, all of us from Montana. And, Ben was my father's cousin. So in the Native way, my uncle. And it really was a gift for me to be able to step in when I did and carry forward that service. I say service, but I really got so much out of it that I don't even like to call it that, because I learned so much. I was, a part of and continue to be part of a community of people who gave me more than I could ever give. And, I really, people like the trainers, learning from both of them and their example. I so enjoyed, quiet, wise teachings from other board members, in particular, Leo Rhodes, who was a club member, board member for years. And then also the late Peter Joe, who was a DSHS outreach worker, a Native outreach worker, who was also a board member. And I take away so many gifts that I'm so thankful for. So, I think both of you know very well that I'm not comfortable with personal so that said, I just really am so grateful that you've acknowledged my family and our history with the Chief Seattle Club. I just, I love the club. I will always love the club. It's where my relatives are. It's my family. It's my home. And so I'm just happy to be a part of this 50th anniversary. So in my language, Kinihayan, in my husband's language of the Lummi Nation, Haishka. As always, I raise my hands to the Chief Seattle Club.
Oh, thank you, Denise. You're making me cry.
You guys did it to me before I had to speak. So there you go.
Well, it's just an honor to know you. And I just want to also just recognize that you are leading in so many spaces around Seattle right now. I know that you're on the United Way board, that you are the incoming chair of the YWCA board. You've been on I don't know if you're still on the Seattle Art Museum board.
Yeah.
So a few things going on, but I think that kind of leadership, showing our larger Native community that this is Native leadership in these spaces, and our ideas and thoughts and your ideas and thoughts are going to make change in such a positive way. So thank you for your continued service to the Seattle community. It's really incredible. We like you.
Yes, too.
All right. Well, and you'll be receiving one of these beautiful scars from Louie Gong and Eighth Generation.
Thank you, Louie.
All right. Well, we want to, you're welcome to stay in the room with us, by the way, Denise. We'd like you to. We want to now recognize our wonderful friend, Tricia Trainor, and invite Tricia to join us as we talk a little bit about your amazing work at the Chief Seattle Club. Tricia, it is an honor to be able to present you the first ever Tricia Trainor Spirit Award. And part of the reason we wanted to give you this award is, one, just to recognize you, because you have served the Chief Seattle Club. And I know that when I first started getting to know you, what everyone said is like, oh, Tricia started serving Chief Seattle Club by coming down and dropping off cupcakes with your kids when they were little. And your service has continued on for so many years, specifically supporting our work of the spiritual work of the club. And I can remember early on meeting with you and hearing your dedication to ensuring that we had traditional healers here at the club, that we had the right kind of funds in order to make that happen, that we would have, Father Pat to be able to do a mass here at the Chief Seattle Club on Sundays. And you continue to just support the work of traditional healing for our members. And that has been, it is life-changing. It has set a strong foundation for our work as we move forward. So we want to thank you for that. And Annie, I don't know if you want to add more on to this, all the accolades that we could give you, Tricia.
Yeah, Tricia, you were one of the first board members that I really remember connecting with very early on, just from your warmth and your openness, which, coming on as a pretty young board member, not really knowing what I was doing, was so appreciative. And as I've continued with the years on the board and then stepping into this chair role, it meant the world to have your support through that. And you're just so well in tune and just have such a loving and open spirit that somehow you always were able to ground whatever it was that we were doing. Sometimes when we were having really hard conversations, you were always able to ground that in our bigger purpose and helping to elevate us as a group to do some of the hard work. And so I've just been so grateful to you for that. Mm-hmm. And just how much I've been able to learn from you over the years is, I'm just so very lucky to have been able to work with you and to continue, to work with you as we move forward, because we know even though you have since retired from your board member role, that you're still a very, very huge part of our organization.
Thank you.
We'd love for you to share any words you have for us.
Well, I thought of what I want to say, but so much more has come up as people have spoken. But I know everyone said when they came in the doors of Chief Seattle Club, they felt a sense of being home. And I certainly felt that too, even though I'm an ally, not a Native person. And I've stepped down from serving on the board after almost 30 years of volunteering in different capacities, from cupcakes and soup to being on the board. And I've watched Chief Seattle Club become the powerful Indigenous organization that it is today. And in some ways, I think Sister Julie and Steve and I were kind of marching in place sometimes and just kind of holding it. And then it's just taken off. And so being an ally of the club has meant so much to me, as much as anything else that I've done, but it's just meant a lot to me. And through the years that I've been here, I've come to know well some of the members and some of the staff and the people on the board. And the club is in my heart, and it always will be. I look back at when I first came with that soup. We were in a storefront on Washington Street, a narrow storefront, and there were holes in the floor, and they had one burner where you could put the soup to warm it up, and one bathroom. And it sounds kind of desperate, but even as I walked in there, I had such a feeling of these people being special people. I mean, I don't mean to glamorize it, because a lot of people were leading very difficult lives, but there was something very profound and loving and true about a lot of the people that I met there. And so I just want to thank you. I have to say, I stepped off the board, and once, maybe a couple of years ago, Denise, before she stepped off, she said, well, I think it's good to have change. You should take time. I mean, there should be new people on the board. And I felt like she was talking to me, because I've been here so long, and there were just wonderful people now on the board. And I don't think my gifts were so needed, but also I was getting old. But I just, I thank her, because at the time I was a little upset, but I realized it is good to let new people in, and for the people that leave, still carrying it in our hearts. So I thank you for giving me this Spirit Award and for naming it after me. That's really special. And I feel like the spirit of Chief Seattle Club has deepened my spirit, and I will be forever grateful.
Thank you, Trisha. I really should have brought a thing of tissues here. Like, I have no tissues. I'm like tearing up. It's just an honor to know you and to call you a friend. We are just so grateful for your leadership, for your compassion, for your kindness over the years. So thank you so much for all that you've done. And I look forward to the many years that we give this award to folks who carry on in that spirit of compassion and understanding, and leading us towards, training our own spirits to connect back to our traditional ways. You've encouraged that over and over again, and we are so grateful. Denise, did you want to add anything to this? I know you know Trisha very well.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke to it a little bit before, but, I came on the board in early 2001, and Trisha and Steve, of course, were on the board at that time. And to be able to grow in being a board member and learning about the history of the club and just seeing their commitment, which was above and beyond anything that I had ever seen in terms of people who just were really showing their love. And, like I said before, I learned so much from that, just their modeling of how to be an ally for Native people, but just how to be the best people possible. Mark and I will often talk about the trainers, about how we don't know of anyone else who are better people. And we truly, sincerely mean that. So it was a privilege really to be in their presence. And I miss them. So it's nice to see Trisha virtually. And a little while back before the show started, I got to see Steve pop his head in. So that was great too.
I know it feels like old home right now. It feels so good. I'm feeling just all the feels right now.
Oh.
Well, we're so grateful. And, I would love for you to stay on because we have a little tribute to our members. We're celebrating this 50th years and we have these wonderful awards we're giving to you wonderful people. But we do this out of love for the members. They are so amazing, so resilient, so hilarious, so deserving of everything that we can possibly give them as they have struggled with homelessness and struggled with other really hard things. This really is for you, all of our Chief Seattle Club members. So we want to play a short video that is just a tribute to our members. And I want to thank the Chief Seattle Club staff who put this together. And I'd love for you all to stay and then maybe we can have a quick reflection on this really special video.
Thank you.
It's going to happen.
Best friend, don't be afraid. I'll be right here to help show you the way. Feel my touch, let it warm your soul. A love that's forever, a love that's pure gold. Best friend, take courage in us when we're apart, and when times get rough. I your best friend? Hey, hey, oh, hey, hey, oh.
Wow. Thank you all for sticking through us that video. Any reactions to the video? We saw a lot of familiar faces.
Such good faces, strong faces.
Yeah. Yeah, the one thing that struck me is I saw so many of the so many faces that were familiar, but also faces of staff members throughout the year who were club members and staff members, and just the friendship that I had with so many of them that meant so much to me.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that I love most about our club is that, I mean, when you're there, it's like everyone's your auntie and your uncle, your own, feel like your own cousins and your brothers and sisters, and some of them might be. And I got really teary looking at just how many of our members have been here and have been such a crucial part of our organization and have lifted us up in so many ways and challenged us in so many ways to do better. And so I think that's the thing that I bring with me with this work is, what can we do next? What can we do better? Because these are truly our relatives. And I don't think there's anything more important than caring for our Native family in Seattle.
Yeah, absolutely. I keep saying it, and I'll say it again. It is just one of the greatest things I've ever gotten to do and be involved with is to be a board member at Chief Seattle Club initially, thanks to Mark, and then also to be here as executive director and to work alongside our staff and work alongside our members. It is truly a joy. I just want to say thank you to Annie and to Denise and to Trisha for being here with us and celebrating these 50 years. It has been an amazing 50 years, and we are moving forward. We have more work to do. The Chief Seattle Club is currently in construction of our All project. It's 80 units of beautiful housing right in the heart of Pioneer Square, right through the downtown corridor. It'll be a building that celebrates our members and celebrates Coast Salish tradition. You heard earlier the beginning of our time together, the video from Pearl Jam. And Pearl Jam is helping support putting in our first, one of the first Coast Salish welcome figures in the downtown corridor. We also have embedded Coast Salish art into this project. So we cannot wait to hopefully do it in person. October of next year, we will open this building. Along in that building, we'll have a full clinic in partnership with our dear friends at Seattle Health Board. We'll have a cafe that will be stocked from our Sovereignty Farm project. And we're so excited about bringing people home. This is for our members. This is a place of healing. This is a place of connection. This is a place of stability and safety. Many of our members do not feel safe when they're outside on the street because it's not a safe place. But we're calling to them that this is your home. This is your place. Your community will be here to take care of you and to love you. And then in 2022, around June, we hope to be opening the Sacred Medicine House. Sacred Medicine House is 125 units of housing in Lake City Way. It's right on Lake City Way. We're super excited about the location and supporting that Lake City neighborhood. This will be housing for folks who really need a lot of support. Permanent supportive housing is for folks who've been experiencing chronic homelessness, who have struggled with all kinds of health issues. And we think, we have right about 100 and 125 Native people who need this kind of housing. We think that this is going to take care of a huge population that has needed this specific kind of housing for folks who have these high needs. And so we're excited for Sacred Medicine House to open in June of 2022. While all this construction is happening, we will continue to do the work. We will continue to do better work. We will continue to do more work so that our members know how important they are to us, so that our relatives know that their relatives are taking care of them. Eagle Village continues to thrive. We have over 31 units of housing there. And that wonderful space is just continuing to grow and grow with a medicine garden, with new murals, with new leadership. And we are so excited about how wonderful that space has turned out. We're so grateful to King County, to Executive Constantine for their support in ensuring that Eagle Village becomes a model for how to serve our Native people around the country. We get calls all the time around the country saying, tell us more about Eagle Village. Finally, we want to say thank you to you, all of our wonderful donors and supporters. You have been with us this 5 days, and I just am so glad you're here. We want to thank you for being with us and supporting this work. We want to thank 8th Generation again, who made us these beautiful awards for our awardees. They are doing this in the shop now, which is amazing. Like they are like continuing to grow and expand their work and continue to have a legacy of giving in Indian country. And we cannot thank you so enough. Thank you, Louie Gong and staff and the Snoqualmie tribe. We also know that at Native Works, our workforce development program, you can buy some really cool stuff. You can buy one of our Always Indigenous. This Always Indigenous was a theme of our 5 days of virtual fundraising together. I want to give a huge shout out to Cindy, who dropped this by my office this morning. We're so grateful for your design work and all of our Always Indigenous and branding of this event. I want to thank Olivia on the Chief Seattle Club staff, who's sitting right over there. Thank you for putting this together. I want to thank Jeff Bearhand from Sky Bear Media. If you have any kind of media needs, Jeff is your guy and an incredible friend. And so glad that you're supporting us in this work, Jeff. And it's been just, as always, a joy to work with you. The Chief Seattle Club is going to continue on. 50 years from now, I hope we have hundreds and hundreds and thousands of units of housing. I believe that every single one of our members who are experiencing homelessness in King County, probably around 1,100 Native people who are experiencing homelessness, every single one of them will be brought inside. 50 years from now, there will not be such a horrible thing as Native homelessness, but that Indigenous people will be taking care of each other. As a Native community, we'll invite our relatives in, and all Native people will be brought into housing, stability, and security. So thank you all for watching. It's been so fun to be with you. Thank you to our sponsors of this event, and please donate. Thanks again. We appreciate you.